A shocking claim just hit the internet, and it's shaking the Bayhive to the core. A man who says he once worked with Beyoncé's glam team is now spilling secrets. He claims Blue Ivy's beauty glow-up wasn't just natural, it was planned, step by step. According to him, Beyoncé and Mama Tina have been carefully shaping Blue's image behind the scenes, not just with makeup or styling, but with real changes. And if the rumors are true, this is just the beginning. Allegedly, there's a list. A whole list of future surgeries lined up for Blue Ivy. From nose jobs to facial sculpting, the internet is now wondering, is this about protecting a child or creating the perfect brand? But that's not even the wildest part, because once you see what Blue Ivy went through as a kid, you'll understand why this might have started long before we ever noticed. For years, people dragged Blue Ivy's looks online, calling her names, mocking her features, and constantly comparing her to her parents. But recently, something changed. All of a sudden, the internet flipped. Comments started pouring in about how beautiful she looked, how much she had grown into her face, and how stunning her glow-up was. But now that glow-up is being questioned, the so-called surgeon, who's speaking out, claims Blue's transformation wasn't just a result of puberty or natural maturity. He's saying it was carefully guided, allegedly with procedures meant to enhance certain features and soften others. And what's even more shocking is how specific his claims are. According to him, the changes were timed to be subtle, done just enough to spark attention, but not enough to cause suspicion. He claims this is a common tactic in Hollywood. Start early, make small changes, and by the time the child hits their teens, the public just assumes it's puberty. But behind the scenes, it's all strategy. And for someone like Blue, who's part of a billion-dollar brand, image matters more than people realize. That sudden wave of praise for her new look, it might not have been accidental. It might have been planned all along, but that's just the start. Because the backlash Blue faced as a child may explain why this glow-up even happened in the first place. Before she could even walk or talk, Blue Ivy became the center of harsh internet criticism. People weren't just curious, they were cruel. Social media flooded with comments picking apart her looks, especially when photos of her natural hair or bare face would surface. She was just a toddler, but grown adults were already mocking her hair texture, her facial features, and most of all, how much she resembled her father, Jay-Z. It went beyond harmless teasing. Influencers and even celebrities joined in. One of the most talked about moments came when rapper Saucy Santana tweeted cruel things about her appearance. He called her names, compared her unfairly to other celebrity kids like Northwest, and laughed off the backlash when people tried to hold him accountable. And he wasn't alone. The internet turned Blue Ivy into a meme, making jokes at her expense and dragging her into beauty debates she never asked to be part of. She wasn't seen as a child. She was treated like a public figure, forced to carry the weight of how people thought Beyoncé's daughter should look. This kind of attention wasn't just toxic, it was dangerous. It planted the idea that her natural features weren't high enough, that she had to look a certain way to be accepted, and that pressure, it didn't fade over time. If anything, it grew stronger with each public appearance. But the worst part? Blue wasn't just watching, she was listening, and what happened next proves that she may have internalized it all. As Blue Ivy got older, the internet didn't let up. In fact, it got more intense. Suddenly, it wasn't just about her face or hair. Now it was about her clothes, her posture, how she walked, how she smiled. Every red carpet appearance sparked a new wave of comparisons. She's starting to look more like Beyoncé, some would say. Others weren't so kind, pointing out how she still looked too much like Jay-Z, as if that was a flaw. And here's where things got darker. Insiders say Blue's glam team began putting in serious work behind the scenes. According to gossip blogs and alleged blind items, they started using makeup and styling tricks to soften certain features before she appeared in public. Rumors even say they adjusted lighting in photos to make her skin tone appear lighter, her jaw more narrow, her nose more refined, not just for beauty, but to mold her into a version of her mother the public wanted to see. This wasn't about fun fashion or childhood dress-up. This was image control. People close to the industry claim that Beyoncé's team is highly protective of her brand, and Blue Ivy, being the next in line, had to start fitting into that mold early. It wasn't just public opinion driving this pressure. It may have been her own family, and soon, whispers began about what might come next. Not just makeup or lighting, but real, physical changes, permanent ones. Because when a brand is worth billions, a natural childhood isn't always part of the plan. That's when the rumors really exploded. Blind item blogs and industry insiders started dropping hints that shook fans to the core. One blind item in particular claimed that a young heiress to a global empire was already being prepped for long-term image enhancement. Many instantly connected the dots to Blue Ivy Carter. The post described how insiders were allegedly frustrated that the princess of the dynasty didn't inherit more of her mother's features. It even said Queen Beyoncé and Grandma Tina were privately disappointed that Blue looked more like Jay-Z, someone the media hasn't always celebrated for his appearance. According to the source, the glam team was working overtime to hide what they couldn't fix yet. That same item claimed a nose job was being floated as a future option. Not immediately, but in the near future. future, once Blue was just a bit older. It was described as part of a full image strategy to shift her public appearance more in line with Beyoncé's beauty standard. The most disturbing part? It also said Blue Ivy is already aware of what's happening. She's allegedly reading the comments, seeing the comparisons, and leaning into makeup early to try and balance her features toward her mom's look and away from her dad's. It's a lot of pressure for a 13-year-old, but behind the scenes, it sounds like the machine is already in motion, and what's driving it isn't just insecurity, it's business, and business comes with a price. On the surface, Blue Ivy seems to be living a dream. Front row seats at fashion shows, performing on tour with her mom, winning Grammys, all before high school. But behind the camera, things might not be so glamorous. Insiders claim there's a private image strategy in place, one designed to shape her into the next legacy act, whether she's ready for it or not. Every outfit, appearance, and even facial expression is said to be curated with care. It's not just about looking good, it's about upholding a billion-dollar brand. And Blue reportedly knows it. According to those close to the situation, she's become hyper-aware of how people see her. She's leaning into makeup younger than most girls her age, not because she wants to play dress up, but because she feels she has to. For most kids, fame is fun. For Blue, it's a performance, one she didn't audition for. But what happens when the pressure to be perfect becomes too much for a kid to carry? The next chapter reveals voices who've had enough. Not everyone's staying quiet about what's happening. A growing number of fans and critics are calling out the pressure being put on Blue Ivy. They're asking the hard questions. Why is a 13-year-old being styled like a grown woman? Why are people speculating about her getting surgery? Even Tokyo Toni, who's known for being outspoken, chimed in, and her message was clear. She accused Beyoncé of pushing Blue into adult spaces too early, saying no child should be dressed or performing like that in front of grown crowds. And whether you agree with Tokyo or not, she struck a nerve.
No 13-year-old of mine is gonna be doing all of this in front of no grown. I don't give a f you talking about. I don't give a f you ain't doing it. Do that shit you grown or old enough to do it. So guess, little Beyonce, go ahead, because later on, she just training y'all next in line, because Beyonce 40-something. How long she gonna shake that like J-Lo? Because they got to. You're a puppy. They get mad because I say that. And then they say this and say that. Girl, your mother is Beyonce. They got billions of dollars. She can do a lot of with that little girl. That little girl could be influential somewhere, talking about real good things, mental health, stuff with children. She's only 13. Ain't nothing wrong with a 13.
Supporters say Blue should be talking about school, friends, and things that matter to kids her age, not being turned into a walking brand. They argue that the internet has created an environment where celebrity children are treated like products, not people. But what if this isn't just about public pressure? What if the root of it all starts with Beyoncé's own image and the legacy she's trying to build? Beyoncé has always been seen as the gold standard in beauty, but that image didn't build itself. Over the years, critics have pointed out how her straightened hair, lighter skin tones, and polished looks reflect a certain ideal, one that leans into Eurocentric standards. And whether intentional or not, that image became the blueprint. Now, people expect Blue Ivy to match it. Whenever Blue steps out, the comparisons are instant. Is she glam enough? Does she look like her mom? And if she doesn't, the internet makes it known. Some even go so far as to say she falls short just because she looks more like her dad. This twisted beauty expectation didn't start with Blue. It started with Beyoncé's brand, and now it's being passed down. Tina Knowles even had to defend Beyoncé against skin-bleaching rumors during her Renaissance era, but by then, the damage was done. Because when perfection becomes the family legacy, no one gets to just be themselves. And for Blue, that legacy comes with rules she didn't choose. It might sound shocking, but in Hollywood, this isn't rare. Celebrity kids getting work done before adulthood is more common than people think. Just look at Bella Hadid. She reportedly got a nose job at 14, and that's just one example. Insiders claim it's a quiet trend. Some celebrity parents allegedly push their kids to get surgery young, so when the changes settle in, they can blame it on puberty. It's all about controlling the narrative. And now, Blue Ivy's name is being added to that list. According to the so-called surgeon, Beyoncé and Tina are allegedly setting things up early, not just for vanity, but to protect the brand, to make sure Blue fits the image before she hits adulthood and questions start flying. It's a tough pill to swallow. A child being prepped for surgery, not because she wants it, but because the world expects it. And if it's all true, then this isn't just a family decision. It's a warning sign of what fame does to childhood.